The truth about dangerous dogs in Des Moines. Local 5 takes a hard look at why there is no clear way for you or anyone to really find out exactly where the most dangerous dogs are. Good evening, I'm Jack Miller.
And I'm Stephanie Engelson. People in Des Moines are outnumbered by pets. Nearly 200,000 people live in the city limits. Animal Control believes there are about 500,000 pets. Now, for the most part, only a few of them really cause serious problems like bites or vicious attacks that break the skin, permanently scar, or even kill humans.
But how do you know if you're living near someone who's been in trouble for not controlling their dogs in the past, and if it can happen again? Local 5's Nikki Davidson joins us now to show you the truth about dangerous dogs in Des Moines.
Right, it is not easy. We asked for a database, statistics, addresses, anything to be able to help spread the word about problem pets. And in just a few hours of writing with animal control officers, we saw firsthand the backlog and staffing issues the city has when it comes to controlling dangerous animals. It's images like this that most of us never see. The unforgiving, brutal wounds left after a serious dog attack.
AR4.
It's what animal control deals with every day, sometimes 1, 2, up to 8 bite calls in one shift.
We probably spend 90% of our time dealing with 10% of the habitual individuals that we wish to not deal with.
In 2014, Des Moines Animal Control was called out to 1,500 different incidents.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
If we average that out, that's 41 calls every day. And right now, the city budget only allows for 1 officer per shift.
Ready? This one will take right in.
That means Tina Updegrove
Did he get loose a little bit ago?
stays busy. This particular shift is what they call slow, but while she was responding to another call, she witnessed this family's pit bull force open the door of this fence and charge a young neighbor girl and her small dog. His owners were able to calm him before it escalated, but Tina says it could have turned into something ugly and could have been prevented if the dog was legally confined on a leash behind the gate as the city ordinance mandates.
Make sure everybody in the house understands how he is supposed to be confined.
I was just talking to my son about it. I'm talking to my daughter about it. And the only way he can get out is through that gate right there. And so I had told him, I said, no more front yard. He's got to go in the backyard. So.
Yep. All right. There's your citation. Do you have any questions for me?
Nope.
All right, keep him home.
What happened here resulted in a simple citation, dog at large. But that is not usually the kind of ending Tina sees. Instead, it's calls like the one that happened on Core Street in October.
There wasn't ever a minute that I ever thought he would do something like this.
Feed him another one.
This is Chaos. The pet Cody Herrera says was like a son to her.
This is like my ultimate favorite picture of him.
For 5 years. Just looking at the pictures brings back warm memories. But the reality of the last thing he did one Monday afternoon is still hard to come to terms with.
I mean, it was instant. He was out the door, and by the time I got over the fence, it was a done deal.
There were no witnesses to what happened. All they know is Chaos attacked this 8-year-old neighbor boy. He needed 50 to 100 stitches to patch up his face.
I'm still floored. I'm dumbfounded. I'm shocked. It hurts. It hurts bad.
His family says that Chaos had never attacked before, but after this, they made the difficult decision to have the dog euthanized so it could never happen again.
Once I got over the fence and saw that little boy, 1,000 things ran through my mind, and I did what I could at the time. And as much as it hurts, I knew rather if the city said I could have him back after the 10 days or not, he wasn't going to come home.
But not all dogs that bite are put down. Since the beginning of this year, there have been 500 reported attacks. What happens afterwards to each individual dog is up to Sergeant James Butler.
We look at the actions of the animal.
A dog that bites will typically either be determined high risk or dangerous. A dangerous dog, one that causes severe injuries above the neck, is typically euthanized.
When you are taking a member of someone's family and having to declare it dangerous, it's not something that I'm comfortable doing, but it's certainly something that I understand and the necessity exists
But then there's gray area, the bites that aren't as severe. High risk means the owner can reclaim their dog after 10 days, but they must agree to a new set of rules, like getting special liability insurance and keeping their dogs inside in a kennel or on a 6-foot leash at all times. Sergeant Butler has one chance to decide whether the dog might attack again. But if he thinks they were provoked or what happened was some kind of accident, he can let them go home.
And I will not go home second guessing my actions throughout the day on whether I did the right thing or not. And I do live with the decisions I make daily, and I do not regret them because I look at the facts.
And that decision is one he has to take seriously, because after a dog is released back to its owner, there are no progress reports or follow-up checks. There simply isn't enough hours in the day for officers like Tina to stop and make sure every high-risk dog owner is following the rules.
If no one complains, we normally are not very efficient at providing proactive services.
Most of the time, he says that is not a problem, but there are cases where the dog bites again. There are several pets that bite more than once, but are still under the owner's care. And sometimes the owner isn't following the rules they've agreed to, and that can put anyone in the neighborhood at risk.
The individual animals are the ones that are receiving the bad image, when we know, and studies will show, and our evidence will indicate that many of the times we're dealing with the same irresponsible pet owners over and over again. And that is unfortunate, and that is really what we try to target here in this unit.
But where are these irresponsible pet owners living, and how do you know if your neighbor is one of them? It's not easy. Animal Control says if they had to plot out some kind of registry where all these high-risk dogs lived, it would take weeks, maybe even months, and that is time that they do not have.
It would be nice to have a system such as that. I couldn't even begin to fathom what the cost would be just to develop the system and to have someone staff that.
While officers say they do work to check in on known repeat offenders, in the end, most dog bites are something no one can predict.
There wasn't ever a minute that I ever thought he would do something like this.
As Cody Herrera says, you never know what your pet might do until that moment, which led her to make the hard choice. Say goodbye to a member of her family in hopes that it would help keep another family safe.
These are the good memories that we have. And I think sometimes this is why I get sad, because I'm not going to be able to lay with them.
In Des Moines, Nikki Davidson, Local 5 News, We Are Iowa.